Boxing Show. I'm Marc Abrams, and this week we are joined by junior welterweight Kenneth Sims Jr., who talks about his fight coming up on August 21st on the Bally's Sports Network. Back after a week off, we were fighting the dreaded COVID-19. I still have a little bit of a cough going, but I'm feeling better. Thank you for everyone who emailed me, called, reached out, and wished me better health. I am back and better than before. Let's get right to it. Last Saturday night in Grand Prairie, Texas, Virgil Ortiz kept his perfect knockout streak alive. He's 19-0 with 19 knockouts as he stopped slick and, a little deceptive Michael McKinson in round 9. McKinson was undefeated coming in. He drops to 22-1. That fight was fought just outside of Fort Worth, Texas, the Fort Worth, Texas home of Virgil Ortiz Jr. as he goes to 19-0, 19 knockouts. And he's kind of in the same position of Boots Ennis is in. He's just kind of literally, just going along, waiting for that big fight, that big opportunity to arise with the news this week of a possible November showdown between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. Big fights for Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis could be coming, I would say maybe in the spring. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Earlier Saturday afternoon, two-time Olympian Michael Conlan, who was coming off his stoppage defeat in his world title opportunity against Lee Wood. He came back, boxed very well over three-time world title challenger Miguel Mariaga to win a 10-round unanimous decision, and Belfast scores were 99-88, 99-88, and 99-89 for Conlan, who's now 17-1. Mariaga slips to 30-6. Also Saturday in England, junior welterweight Dalton Smith went to 12-0, notch knockout number 10, as he stopped Sean O'Mason in a battle of Sheffield, England fighters. O'Mason now 17-4-1, 7 knockouts. As we need to shut our phone off for a second. Sorry about that. It's live TV here. Sean O'Mason, a battle of Sheffield area junior welterweights. Time was 2:56 of round number 6 for Dalton Smith. Not too much on the docket this week. Got 3 fight cards. Friday night in Prescott Valley, Arizona, live on Redemption payperview.com or redemptionppv.com. It's a battle of former world champions. His previous guest, Mickey Bay, 23-3-1, 11 knockouts, takes on Tevin Farmer, 35-1, 6 knockouts. That will take place at the Findlay Toyota Center, live in Prescott, Arizona, for a $29.99 on redemptionppv.com. Saturday will mark the return, the takeover, or the take back for Teofimo Lopez, the former undisputed lightweight champion of the world, 18-1, 12 knockouts, get back in the ring for the first time since November. That defeat to George Kambosos Jr. in Madison Square Garden. He'll get back out to Las Vegas at the Resorts World live on ESPN as he'll take on Pedro Campa. Campa, 34-1-1, 23 knockouts. That fight will highlight an ESPN card Saturday night from the Resorts World Event Center in Las Vegas. Beautiful facility, that Resorts World. Same night, people on let's see here, on Fight Plus service, they'll see Wesley Ferrer take on Jason Velez, the former world title challenger, in a NBA title fight from Orlando, Florida, at 135 pounds. Ferrer, who's not undefeated, 16-1-1 with 8 knockouts. A lot of news and notes over the week. Actually, this should actually have gone in our results column. Jordan White notched his 10th straight victory as he retained the WBC USNBC title with a 10-round unanimous decision over Derek Murray at the Live Casino, Maryland. Over 3,000 people there. Jeter Promotions, another sold-out crowd. Jordan White now, he's one of the top kind of unknown junior lightweights in the world. Had a big win on Showbox. Big puncher. He's been on a roll, so look to see him in a big fight coming up real soon. Big news out of England. Chris Eubank Jr., the middleweight, 32-2, 23 knockouts, will take on welterweight Conor Benn in a in a reborn rivalry, I guess they're calling it. Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn got it on in the 90s. Now their sons are going to go at it. Conor Benn now 21-0, 14 knockouts. That fight will take place on October 8th at the O2 in London. That will be on DAZN pay-per-view in the United Kingdom, on regular DAZN here in the United States. So that'll be interesting fights. It'll be a big fight there in England between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. This Friday night, the R&B Promotions card for the Battleship, New Jersey, a real cool venue where R&B Promotions is going to do the first pro card. That fight has been pushed back to Sunday, August the 28th. So we'll be reporting live from there. We'll be doing the blow-by-blow for R&B Promotions. Lightweight contender Joseph Diaz will face rising star undefeated William Zepeda. Diaz 32-2-1, 15 knockouts. Zepeda 26-0, 23 knockouts. That fight will take place on November 5th. Venue unknown right now. Will be live on DAZN. The undercard fighters who were set to fight on last weekend's Jake Paul, Hasim Rahman Jr. Fight card. The card which was canceled due to Rahman's inability to make the weight. Kind of a he said, she said kind of thing going on then, or he said. Don't want to say that. Fighters like Amanda Serrano, Ashton Sylvie, Brandon Lee, they're going to be rescheduling fights, but some of the other fighters, we get 50% of their purses. Jake Paul being kind and generous to help out some of the fighters who have been training very hard for the last couple months, only to have the whole fight card canceled. Jack Catterall has inked a new contract. He has signed with Boxer, the upstart promotion out of England, that's going to be staging the big September 10th showdown between Savannah Marshall, Clarissa Shields, Alicia Baumgartner, and Michaela Mayer as well on that card. But Jack Catterall will be facing Josh Taylor sometime in the fall, a rematch of their controversial 140-pound world title fight from earlier this year. So Jack Catterall signs with Boxer. Unbeaten heavyweight Joe Joyce, 14-0, 13 knockouts, will take on former world champion Joseph Parker, 30-2, 21 knockouts. That fight will take place on September 24th at the AO Arena in Manchester, England. Super lightweight Shenard Bunch will headline a Showbox card. He'll take on Hugo Alberto Rodin. That will take place on September 9th. That'll be the main event of a triple header from Bally's in Atlantic City, and I'll be right there on the scene, ringside, reporting on it. Got a lot of great interviews. So tune into Abrams Boxing on YouTube and all the Abrams Boxing social media platforms. The co-feature that night will pit 16-0, knockout Bernard Angelo Torres taking on once beaten Frenzy Fernando Saya, 13-1, 10 KOs. And in the telecast opener, former guest Janelson Bocachica, 17-0, 11 knockouts. He'll take on knockout artist Roman Villa, 24-1, 24 knockouts. That will be an 8-round welterweight contest. The big September 4th, Andy Ruiz Jr., Luis Ortiz pay-per-view card. Got some nice lead-in stuff. The Fox platforms will add 2 big fights leading into the pay-per-view telecast. At first, at 7 o'clock, FS1 will air a bout between Rais Alim, 19-0, 12 knockouts, and Mike Plania, 26-1, 13 knockouts. In a super bantamweight contest, we'll get Rais on in the next week or so to preview his fight against Mike Plania. Then head over to Fox at 8 p.m. Eastern. Joey Spencer, 15-0, 10 knockouts. He'll take on Kevin Salgado, 14-0-1 with 9 knockouts. So keep an eye out for those 2 fights. Sad to report the passing of Australian boxing legend and former WBC featherweight champion Johnny Famechon at age 77. He passed away in Victoria, Australia last week. And finally, fight announced between Kenneth Sims, 17-2-1, 5 knockouts. He'll take on Christian Minnow, 22-6-2 with 17 knockouts. That will be the main event of a Bally's Sports Intro Box Championship boxing card on Sunday, August 21st at the Caribe Royale in Orlando, Florida. And this week I had a chance to catch up with with Kenneth Sims while he's been on a roll of late. And now joining me on the line is a junior welterweight contender, Kenneth Sims Jr. Kenneth takes on Christian Rubio Mina on August 21st, live in the main event on Bally Sports Network in Orlando, Florida. Kenny, what's happening tonight?
Good. I'm just getting in from the gym, so everything going good. Camp going good. Ready.
Let's talk about this fight coming up as we tape this interview. It's about 11 days out. Take on Mina. What can you tell us about this fight?
The fight specifically, I treat the biggest fight of my life because at this point, the next fight could be the biggest part. Making sure I don't slip up, don't take no shortcuts, and just working. One of the WBA titles, one of the regional titles, continental titles, one of them. I don't know exactly. That should move me up in the ranking. So I know I'm getting close to the ultimate goal of a world title and making sure I'm ready.
You've been on a nice little roll in your last few fights, especially with the win over Elvis Rodriguez before that. You had a couple wins. Daryl Humphrey, Jermaine Corley, and Keyshawn Williams back on Christmas night. Talk about this little streak they're on.
I just been around people that I can learn from. We learn from each other. About myself, like my body, like my nutrition, making sure all that is good. Weight the right way, making sure I'm training the right way, make sure I'm not overtraining. So I just like when I took the losses, I was learning on the job basically. So people say a loss is not a loss, it's a lesson. But I really believe that with me because those early setbacks, I wouldn't be the fighter I am now. So I don't think I was. So the streak is like me being what I was supposed to be initially. So
yeah, I mean, just want to talk about those quick losses for a second. I think I was present at all of them, and obviously when I was working in my PR capacity, I know there are a couple times where I have to go back in the locker room and get quotes from the winners, the losers, those fights, and those losses, those draws. You were very emotional. There were a couple times where you couldn't bring yourself to even talk. Talk about that, and did like a light bulb go on? Maybe coming from like you mentioned, their lessons and all that. Did like a light bulb go on? Because obviously everyone knows the talent that you had coming out of the amateurs, the great documentary done on you as you embarked on your pro career. Was there like a particular point where things started to turn around for you, where that light bulb went on?
Well, that first part about me like being emotional, I just hate losing. Like, all right, I hate losing more than I love winning. And so I just hate losing. So that's what. And yeah, losing would be a light bulb, just like with anything else. Like when you don't do something like up to you're able to do it, that you're gonna try to find out what you got to do to fix it, make sure everything, the time to just make sure everything was right so I can be myself when I was in the ring. So that was just it. I took a step back and added people to found my niche for how I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to be doing.
I mean, obviously, the fight that kind of puts you, I would say, back on the map was the Rodriguez fight. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I've seen that fight and the fight that you fought against Keyshawn on Christmas night. You could just tell, even without talking to you, just the body language. You're a much more confident fighter. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's 100% true. I think just being around like all the people I train with now, like we push Troy, Isley, Duke Reagan, Bruce Carrington, train together. We do everything together when we're in camp. So like, it's like they give me confidence. We give each other tips. They give each other tips. Like we all got a lot of experience Like they just turned all three of them went to the Olympics that I just named. So we just learning off each other. And Jared Anderson, like Shakur, then I'm around Bud a lot of the times. Like,
are you yeah? Obviously, these guys they're from different parts of the country.
Mhm.
Are you? I remember you trained mostly in Chicago. Are you kind of spreading out where you're doing some camps now? You kind of going away?
Yeah, my last two Vegas. So I'm in Vegas right now. Before that, I was in Colorado for that Elvis fight. When I got a fight coming up, I'm not in Chicago because it's just better for me. Because like in Chicago, about 99% know I'm gonna get the best of the sparring. Like, ain't nobody gonna really like push me to where I need to be %. So I need to get out to push myself.
Is this also kind of part of the turnaround as well? Is it going away to Vegas and Colorado Springs?
Definitely like that's a big part of it because, like I said, just the people I'm around. I spar more competition, especially here in Vegas. Everybody come here to train, so I'm sparring top. Then just in the gym, it's top guys in the gym. They see me spar and they just tell me, and then they even if they not telling me like no instructions or no like giving me compliments about like even some people like they be like they never knew me and then oh my god, like who are you, and be like, so that's even a part of like a confidence boost. I'm not like I know I'm better than a lot of most people on the planet at boxing stuff.
And as we mentioned before, a major amateur star that you were, the documentary, a lot of people knew you very early in your career and, the expectations, obviously after the losses, people kind of pushed you to the side a little bit. A question I ask, and I think I may or may not know the answer here, is sometimes without those high expectations, does that relieve some pressure for you, and you can fight a little bit more freely and do things a little bit more freely without those high expectations?
No, I don't think that. I don't think that got nothing to do with it. It was just to learn about myself, like physically, and mentally. Like I don't think. I feel like I had expectations. Like even if it's not other people, myself and my expectations from people that know me, those I think about those like outsiders' expectations of me. Like those don't really like move me. Like people personally, they always had high expectations of me. So my whole life.
So you mentioned this fight, and I know you're not like looking ahead of yourself, but you said, maybe a couple fights could be, you said this is the biggest fight of your life, and it's for a regional title and whatnot, and there could be fights for bigger titles, two fights down. I know on Bally Sports Network, I know you fought a couple fights with the Premier Boxing Champions as well. So, anything you've been told? You've been looking at what's going on in the 140-pound division. Josh Taylor, who was who had all four belts, is kind of giving a couple belts out. I know next Saturday night, one of his belts is going to be fought for between Puello and.
I spar with him out here.
Who's that? Who'd you spar with?
Puello. I spar with him a lot. My last camp.
So is that a guy with? I know fighters don't really talk about sparring.
Yeah, I tried to say it's just sparring. I don't really.
Well, I'll word it a little bit differently. If like you said, you win the next two, 1, 2, 3 fights, whoever it is, and Puello, gets his hand raised next Saturday night. Is that a guy? If they call Kenneth Sims' number to fight for a world title, is that a guy you'd feel, have some confidence in going against him for a world title?
Yeah, for sure. I got confidence going against anybody for a world title. So, like, I don't. I got on planet Earth. Like, I think I'm one of the best in my really. I got confidence against anybody. They call me and say I could fight him for a title, but it's just work. We gonna. It's not like my friend or anything or my brother. Yeah, we can get to that. I don't really.
Do you see now? I mean, the way you look at it with Taylor giving up some belts, it looks like he's going to fight Catterall again. Some of the belts have been splintered out now, and it looks like after he fights Catterall, he could be moving up to welterweight. You see this as a wide open division right now?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think it's a lot of. I think it's open for somebody to take it over. It's a lot of people in this division that can win a world title. So it's wide open. I think Taylor probably move up after the Catterall fight, so that'll be 2 more times, obviously.
And then I guess Regis and Zepeda are going to fight, and I guess Ramirez may fight the winner of that fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like all those. I fight all those people. Like, I'm not discriminating. I fight all of those guys, especially I fight all of like Regis. Regis is my guy. We cool. But I don't know how we do it.
Real quickly, going back to the fight for the 21st, Mina. What do you know about him?
I don't know too much. I watch videos I've seen on YouTube, but that's about it. It's only like 2 videos on YouTube. I know he's short and he kind of aggressive. He got 17 knockouts, 22 wins, so he power, but I don't really know too much about him. I just when they say seen, but like I seen his right. But I think I think I should I got planned on doing a pretty good fight. He got a good record.
And obviously he's a gateway to bigger and better things for you. What do you want to say to the fans in closing before we see you on Sunday night, August 21st?
Ready, everybody. Make sure you tune in on Bally's. Having a great camp. Twitter, Instagram at Kenneth Sims Jr. I've been working. I'm trying to a long time since we had a world champion. I'm trying to be the next one.
There you have it. Kenneth Bossman Sims Jr. So I like the nickname, so I always have to get that one in for you. So Kenny, we thank you for a few minutes of your time. We will see you on Sunday night, August 21st, live on Bally Sports Network from the Caribe Royale in Orlando, Florida. We will talk to you along the way, and hopefully, we'll talk to you, within a couple fights, and maybe we'll be talking about a world title fight.
Yeah, hopefully.
There you have it.
I pray so. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Kenneth. There we have it. Kenneth Bossman Sims Jr. Well, that's our show this week. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Next week, we will preview the big rematch between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk for a unified world title, heavyweight unified World Heavyweight Championship from Saudi Arabia. Talking a little Adrian Broner, Omar Figueroa as well. Get some great guests on. Break down all the news of the week and preview and review all the big fights. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on the Abrams